Hey, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I know, but are you ready? You finished the book?
Yeah, I finished the book.
Okay, so you ready to document and talk to me now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, let me turn this off. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. So you finished the whole book with the exception of the special section. That's something you can read on your own time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm finished with that.
Okay. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how how did it hold your attention?
Mm,
1 meaning
but,
it was boring, 10 meaning you couldn't put it down.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. Was it more educational, entertaining,
Oh,
or
no.
informative?
Um, it has to be informative.
Informative. Okay. Did you enjoy it?
Mm, I don't know. I can't say I didn't enjoy it, and I can't say I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, it was very questionable, I would say. So it took some time to absorb what I did read. So that's why it took me a couple of days because I had to rest reading it and think about it first.
Okay. You said questionable. What does that mean? Well, before you answer
Uh,
that, no, go ahead. What does that mean when you say questionable?
I question some of the experiences being to the extent of the trauma you say you was that you seem to be you seem to live through. And I was questioning to what extent it was going to go. How far along did it? Well, how far along did it go before you decided to do something about it? So, in between going from one page to the next, I had to take my time and read it. Tell you the truth.
Okay. Um, I understand that, but I'm focusing on the word questionable. What do you mean questionable? Because I guess there's a bunch of ways you could mean it, and I don't want to take it the wrong way. When you say it was questionable, you said questionable whether or not how I described it was as intense as it was. I don't want to put words in your mouth or lead you. So I want to understand when you say it was questionable.
It was questionable because I remember you from the day you were born throughout your life until I moved out the house. So I wasn't there for a couple of months in school. So I say I question your activities up until the time you was about 14 to 15, for sure.
Okay.
So I question your beginnings to the extent that you, as far back as you, I see that I understand that you went back to.
Okay. And how questionable on a scale? I like to use the 1 to 10 scale. From 1 to 10, how questionable were you? Were you doubting 100%, 90%, 10%, all of it, most of it? So when you say questionable,
I didn't doubt. I didn't doubt anything. I questioned it.
oh,
I
okay.
never
So
doubt.
okay, so that's what I mean when I was trying to get the understanding of questionable. So now it's coming clear. So it wasn't doubtful questionable. It was like you wanted to know more information. Is that what you're saying?
I question where it all began, and because those were not all the some of the things were not that memorable to me, or either I didn't know anything about, because I don't remember. I wouldn't say your life was when you was younger that questionable. I would never have thought maybe it was something I maybe missed more or less than what you was what I read. I'll put it like that.
I'm still trying to understand when you say questionable, and you're not saying you were doubting it, or were you doubting it, or do you have questions about the experiences?
I question your childhood.
Okay, it's still kind of broad, and I don't want you to.
I question your childhood from the time maybe you maybe I'll say around the time that you can remember. I'm thinking because I'm thinking of a timeline in my head, and I'm thinking of that timeline that you didn't put a timeline in there, you just left it open. But I'm thinking where as the time maybe you were 5 or I'll say from 6 on up to I'm gonna say 12. I questioned the time that you may have been experiencing these things.
Okay, I'm hearing you clearly. I just don't want to misunderstand what you're saying. And the word question is what I'm not understanding how you're using it. You're saying you're not doubting it, and you don't necessarily have questions about some of the experiences. How are you using questioning? Are you saying you're doubting the experience themselves or the intensity of the experience? I'm trying to understand how you're using the word question. I questioned it.
Again, I have to be careful what I say because I'm talking to you. I don't doubt anything you said. I'm questioning the timeline of where this began and what brought you to that traumatic experience.
So when you say when this, what are you talking about this?
You express yourself as living a life of, to me, I would say that was torture.
What was torture?
You would say that it was trauma. I would call it torture because anything that you carry on into adulthood, I sense that I think that's torture. That's torture. That's torture. That's torture. That's the pain somebody tortured you with in the fire and never been put out. So I would call that a torch. You would say, well, those were my traumatic experiences. Trauma began, but sometimes trauma don't hurt every day. It's an experience that you have. Whereas when somebody is tortured and the fire is not put out, it keeps burning. And so I'm trying to understand, okay, the trauma began at what age? That's what I was questioning. Not doubting it. Hopefully I can understand, where did it begin? Can you pinpoint what age you think it started? Maybe that would be better. About what age was it? So that's what I question.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily describe my experiences as traumas, although some may have been traumas. So I don't think my life was traumatic, and I don't think I was tortured in any kind of way. I just had some experiences that helped me to become who I even am today. Even what happened to me last week, the experiences are shaping who I'm going to be next week or next year. So I don't see my experiences as torturous or as traumatic, although some things were impactful. I don't see my experiences as torturous or as traumatic, although some things were impactful. Some things were impactful. Some things were traumatic. 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 Some things were traumatic So, I mean, I'm being careful also because I'm talking to you about not, the words I'm choosing. So, I want to answer your question. I think as far back as from when I was conceived, everything started to build who I am now and who I became, even whenever I was 10 or 12 or 6 or 7. So I can't say there's a timeline as to when anything. That's why I ask you when you say it, when did it start? I'm not sure.
When did you realize it? When did you realize something wasn't right? When did you begin to realize it?
Well, I don't think I ever realized something wasn't right. And being careful with using words, I don't think anything was wrong with my childhood. I just think that the experiences shaped who I developed into and who I'm still becoming. So I'm not sure if I identify as something wrong. So when you ask me at what age or when did it start or when did I realize something was wrong, I still don't think anything was wrong. I don't think I was dropped on my head and then now I can't think. So there was nothing that happened that was wrong, but a collection of experiences helped me to become who I am today. And
you express yourself over and over again of wrong that you found out not to be true. So yes, you did experience some wrong.
Wait, say that again. I express myself as what?
You expressed many wrongs that you found out not to be true. So it was wrong, but you say, I discovered it wasn't true. So somewhere or another, there were some wrongs that you say shaped your life, but when you found out the truth, you move forward from one wrong to find out truth for the next wrong, and it continued on. It's as if you were going through a path, and every time you got to a certain spot or cross, somebody told you the wrong direction or said something to you, and you said, okay, but as you traveled that way, you said, this is not true. So then you say, I'll turn this way, because that's not the right way. You go down another path, and you say, you're immature as a youth. And so someone is giving you directions. Of some people that's surrounding you is not telling you the whole truth. It's more or less something that's twisted and it's shaping you, and you're like, I got to discover which way to go. Well, you describe wrongs and continue to describe wrongs that you found true for not to be true. And when you found out the truth, it was as if you were saying, that angers me.
Well, I'm going to try to respond to what I think you're saying, because I can't say I'm sure. I don't think I discovered anything was wrong, but if I may have felt something that I was experiencing, and then as I grew and matured, I may have had the opportunity to look back and say, okay, well, maybe I didn't have to respond this way or that way, or maybe what I experienced was a little bit more intense than I wasn't as intense as I thought. Because as far back as I can remember, anything that I thought was, I guess I'll use your word, wrong, or anything that I thought was impactful, as I grew older, I began to realize that, okay, I just probably needed to grow up and get through that moment. Or the way I was looking at it and the way I was focused on more of how I was feeling than what was actually happening. So trying to answer, I don't think I realized that something was wrong or I got some rude awakening as time went on. I just began to look at things a little differently than how I felt, because sometimes how we feel is not always reality, or how we see things. Sometimes life will show you. Sometimes you can have therapy and they'll help you to see something a little different than how you may have experienced.
I got that before I lose my thought. Let me say this. You seem to be, since you're talking to me now, you seem to be taking steps into your adulthood that we're not speaking of right now. I said it was a timeline. So let's don't speak to me as in a mature way, because you was not that mature when you was between the ages of 8 and 12. Okay? So let's don't speak to me in the future or what your future taught you. Let's stay back back there in your youthful days. So I can make it sound all like, oh, today. But when I was a youth, oh no, something like you say shaped you. Your experience shaped you from a youth. So let's keep it in that age, in that time of age. Then we can move up. We'll go up. We'll use 3 intervals. We'll use from maybe say 8 to 12, and then teenage years 12 to 18, and then from there you begin to be more alert. But let's stay in our time of growing and developing. Okay. Then I can deal with it, because you didn't start as an adult. You started as a youth. This built up. There were steps you took to get there through phases in life.
When you say this built up, when you say this, what are you talking about when you say this?
As a youth, you said growing up. You the one said growing up. There were people that said things, or you heard things, and they weren't true, and you found them not to be true.
Can you think of anything that I said in particular? Can you think of anything in particular?
Well, you said, for example, you said like when I asked you about Mr. Taylor having hogs and pigs, and I'm like, that man never had hogs and pigs. Not in your time. Maybe before you was a child.
Okay, so let me address that. Hold on, before you go. I remember clearly saying maybe, and I thought that before my time that maybe he did have more, but as the
maybe he did.
Okay, hold on, let me finish. Hold on. Let me just slow down. Let me address what you're saying, and let me be clear. So if you're talking about that specific thing, I want to talk about something else in particular, but I want to address this particular one. When I talked about him, I recall saying maybe because I just imagined that before my time, maybe he did have a bigger or a more in detailed farm. So when I said a cow or a hog, I was imagining that maybe that's what was there. But I do remember chickens, and I do remember, the dogs that were around there. So when I talked about him having a farm with the live, the pears that we used to go and rob, so to speak, I just imagined him having, a larger farm. So I didn't say that he did, and I remember using the word maybe. So that's a small thing, and that particular incident was something that, if you want to say it was exaggerated, it was more imagined than exaggerated. So I want to talk about something else. What else are you saying that? Just give me another example, because that particular one was more of an imagine, which is why.
Okay, you said, okay, you spoke on Eve Mania saying you didn't have any home training, and you said, I do have home training. That was wrong, like you said. You did have home training. There was rights and wrong. Was that right or was that wrong? That can cause what we call the beginning of trauma in a child's life, for somebody to think, I am raised right. And your side you were, to their side you won't, because you didn't meet their standards. Well, you said that's not right, what you're saying. So if that's not right, what she was saying, that was a wrong. That's why I say stay in your time zone. Stay in your time. Stay in that phase of time. There were wrongs.
Okay, let me address that now. Hold on, slow down. Let me address that. Even as a child, and maybe that was in that timeline, because I'm not documenting the time right now. That particular incident, even as a little boy, I did feel that was wrong, what she was saying. I feel how she treated me that day was not appropriate. So in that particular incident, I did stand up for myself. What it did or how it impacted me is something maybe a therapist could, I guess, investigate. But I do remember that. I remember how it made me feel. And occasionally, when someone will say something about me today that I know is inappropriate and is not true, I will find myself standing my ground, especially whenever I know that I'm either innocent of something. So that day she made that comment about me as a child, I didn't like it. I didn't feel good. I felt that she was being disrespectful to my home, to my mother, and to me in front of the class. So
I get that. Okay, I get what you're saying. I mean, I read the book. I got what you're saying. You asked me. You asked me what was questionable. So I understand. So I question some things. Like what I say. So some of that started as far back as you can remember, when you were a youth.
Well, when you say that and you're saying this, well, that particular incident was something that was impactful. Definitely.
Okay, that was just one thing. Okay, you say you had a cousin that used to say, "You so fat you stink." Okay, did he say that when you was a youth?
Yes.
Okay, but you weren't so fat you were stinking. Cause I know you didn't stink. That was to hurt you. So that was a wrong.
Okay.
And you probably thought, I don't stink. Why would he say that about me? Because and call me stink like I stink. I'm not stink. People say, why you say I stink because I'm fat?
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, hold on a second.
Don't stink. I know you stink. You skinny. You stink. So yeah, that's a frown.
Okay, I want to try to stay focused.
So it's a time. Listen, what I'm saying. It's a time of these experiences, and you was a youth. You were not that mature because it sounded as if some adults got in your ear.
Well, the cousin that we're talking about, I did consider.
Well, you don't have to talk. I don't have to know the name. I know people you grew up with. I've been knowing them before you were born. Okay.
Okay, you got to slow down. Hold on, I want to address what you're saying so that I don't get lost. If you could slow down a little bit, that was another thing that was not nice. I didn't feel it was right. It did impact me in a way that I don't know how it impacted my future at that time, but I remember feeling that. I remember having that said to me, and it didn't feel good. So if you agree that was wrong, I agree with you. It didn't feel good. I don't want to address it as the word wrong. That's not the word I'll use. It was impactful for certain. So yeah, you're talking about two incidences that I'm agreeing that were impactful, that had some impact on how I continue to develop as an adult. So you're talking about being teased about being fat and saying I look like I stink. That didn't feel good. Whether it was a wrong or not, I'm not going to say whether it was or not, but it was impactful and I felt it and I remember it. And even to this day, I try to still work out and be fit so that I don't look or feel fat, so fat that I stink. Or I try to carry myself in a way to where if someone says something about me saying I don't have home training, it will be false because my image and my reputation is important. Did I lose you?
No, I'll let you finish. Any more questions?
Well, no, I think I was answering yours. So did I answer your question in terms of when it started? Or what you were questioning? You said you were questioning some things. And again, I still don't know exactly what you mean when you were questioning
I question your youth. I question your youth. Do you enjoy being a child?
I think I enjoyed being a child, yeah.
You enjoy being a child, but you had some experiences that you didn't enjoy, and they were most memorable. So the things that was the most memorable that hurt you is what you remember the most. And I never heard you talk about anything that was that was so laughable or joyful or made you happy or anything like that. So I have to focus on those things that impacted you that you spoke on, because I didn't hear not one time you speak on anything in your youth that made you laugh out loud. It was always something that hurt you some kind of way. So when I was reading, before I even got halfway, I said, okay, will he speak of anything happy? Or will he speak of anything that he that was just even funny? Or I remember the time when we did this and we did that, and we reconciled things.
Okay, I want to interject because there were quite a few things that that made me happy and that I was happy and excited about.
I'm not questioning you outside of what you put in the book that I read. I'm not questioning anything that you didn't put in the book. You asked me what was questionable. And so that's where it became questionable. I began to say, anything that, does he remember anything that was happy about his childhood? Why didn't he put some of that in there?
Let me answer that. You just said it already.
But that was not your focus.
Hold on, let me answer that. Let me answer that question. When I talked about going to Brooks Supermarket, that was exciting. When I talked about going to Doc Wade and getting penny cookies, that was exciting. When I talked about playing out in the yard and going around to all the different people who I knew in the neighborhood, those were exciting times that were fun. When I talked about going out, to the park and the playground, most of my, all of them were fun times. And when you just asked me, did I enjoy my youth? I can just answer that question now. Yes, I did. When I talk,
no, I'm not questioning so much of your youth when there were so many people around. I'm talking about the things you said, the other things that were more negative. Because, everybody had some happy days, but as I continue to read, those few times that you say you went to the park, you went to Mr. Brooks, Mr. Darkway's store, that's what made you happy. Those were peaceful. That was peaceful. That was your peace. When you did something. Now, when other people came into the picture or whatever sometime, and they were negative, that's what impacted you the most. Because going to Mr. Darkway's store, knowing you're going to get an ice cream cone on.
Okay, let me address something. If because you're speaking for me and you're over talking and out talking to me now. Let me address what you're saying.
What was questionable?
I know, but I want to respond to what you're saying. You have to allow me to respond. The things I talked about were not negative and impactful. And that's why it's like when you say something, I kind of want to address it right then before I lose my train of thought. The majority of my childhood was happy. I do recall enjoying my childhood. If I went into detail about a particular experience, it wasn't because it was hurtful as much as it was impactful. Because even now as an adult, maybe it was hurtful to me as a child. But now that, as I said, I've matured to the point where maybe it wasn't, I don't want to use the word hurtful as much as it was impactful. Because my total experience, even those things that you're talking about, I kind of want to talk about another incident instead of just that. But it was a collection of things. I don't want to sound as if I'm looking for pity because I had some impactful things happen to me. Everything that happened was a collection of who I became and why I may be the way I am today. When I look back on all these experiences while writing, this manuscript, putting it together, I look back and it was, I guess, even impactful as I was sharing the stories and then even decided if I'm going to share them because I knew I would get different kinds of feedback from different kinds of perspectives from people. And it sounds, I'm not sure how it impacted you, but I hear a level of, I'm not sure what to call it. I guess, and before I give it a name, I just want to continue with, your review. And I'm kind of drawing a blank as we go, because I don't want our conversation to become contentious. I'm not sure if you are questioning whether I'm being overly dramatic. I don't know. I guess I'm starting to feel some type of way right now because of how the conversation is going. And again, when you said it was questionable, I'm not sure. Did you think I was over dramatizing it? Or do you think I'm looking for some kind of pity? I'm not sure what it is you're questioning and or why. Maybe I'll ask why you're questioning what you're questioning. Because I'm not sure what you're questioning, and you say your childhood. My childhood was lengthy, and you gave the timeline from 6 to 12. So many things I talked about happened well after I was 12.
I question it because most romantic experiences start in childhood. So those things will seem to be a pattern of happening. And I was just a question.
I'm not able to hear you. It's not clear. Just say it again.
I questioned the beginning of these experiences, and how they impacted your life to the point where you got to that point of slowly moving forward. Because it sounded like to me you had a pattern of something going on in your life that kept going on.
And maybe it did. If it sounded like it, then I'll just go with you and say maybe it did. I don't know. All I did was just share the experiences. So how you view it and how you see it, and you say, well, it sounded like this or it sounded like that. However it sounded to you is okay with me. But I'm not saying it sounded anyway. All I did was just share the experiences. And whoever takes away from it, they can have their own opinion. That's why I want your response. I want your review. I want to do quite a few of these. I guess it's getting to a point where I didn't know that I would be asking for reviews or just wanting to get feedback from people. But this is interesting, hearing how you're saying it was a pattern of something. So if you see a pattern, that's fine. So what about the pattern? What does the pattern say about even to where I am this very moment in talking to you? I'm
the reader. You the reader, and you have to say, well, that's not what I meant to say. I say some things sometimes, and my children interpret it, and I said, that's not what I meant to say. And they said, Mama, you always say that's not what you meant to say.
But that's not what I'm saying. Hold on a second. I'm not saying I didn't mean to not say everything. Everything I said, I meant to say it. How someone may receive it, and if they receive it in a certain way, I can confirm if that's the way I meant. But everything I said, it was what I meant to say, because I shared stories from my perspective, from my experiences. So I'm not saying that I didn't mean to say anything.
Okay, you meant to say it, but I am the reader, and I get to interpret it, and I could be interpreting something wrong.
Well, that's why we're discussing it.
Okay, but at the same time, I say I question it because I lived through your childhood. So that's why I'm able to question it.
What is it that you're actually questioning? That's what I keep asking. What are you questioning?
I'm questioning your happiness. Overall, was your happiness overall greater than how other people influence you?
I'm not sure.
Wait a minute, no. Let me tell you about the word influence. When your personal happiness and enjoy what you did in life, was it did it outweigh what someone else brought to the table in your life?
And let me answer that. Yes, I enjoyed more of my childhood and even more of my life through adulthood than some of the things that were learning experiences or impactful experiences for me. So overall, yes, I have more happy days than I did have sad days or traumatic or impactful days.
Okay, from 1 to 100, how many happy days did you have?
85.
That's a C. On the scale that we grew up on, that's a C.
Okay. We're talking about happy days. I would say 85, days where I was okay. So that's still good. That's a pretty good number.
That's passing. See, you see, when they tell you you made a C, that means just be careful because, you're not far from being a D. With the scale that we grew up in now, I'm sticking with my time.
You're getting a little too far from the phone and the space is eating up your voice. Can you get back closer to the phone?
No, I was near the thing. But no, I'm speaking from the scale that we grew up on, not from today's.
Okay, I'm answering your question. So if you said out of 100 days, 80, I think just in my reflecting even now, out of 100 days now, 85 of them were just great. Some days are, not as good as others, and some of those days are learning experiences that give you the opportunity to grow and improve and to strengthen. So what is your point in asking me that? Why did you ask me that?
Because, like I say, this is personal. It became personal to me because, like I said, I grew up with you at that time. So my question is more personable because I'm trying to remember because I question, did you make it all known that you was feeling this way to anyone?
Stop. Let me answer that. As a child, I'm not sure if I wrote a letter or if I, made an announcement anywhere, but I think I expressed who I was and how I was feeling and just the way I carried myself each day, even as a child. But I can't say that I let someone know. But I think if there were a few of those incidences where, it's obvious. I know that I was teased about being overweight as a child. Anybody who could look at me could see that, okay, he's on the thicker side. So I don't have to let somebody know I'm sad. And even as a child, that's not something that I would want anybody to know that bothered me. That is something that I would hold in. So if someone say you fat, all I would want to do is just maybe try not to eat so much, or maybe try to do what I tried to do, ride the bike in the afternoon, or go down and lift weights, or do what I could do. So no, anytime that I would feel bad about something or embarrassed about something, I would hide it. So no, I wasn't broadcasting every time something made me feel bad that someone did or said or something I went through. So no, I wasn't posting it and telling everybody. I was kind of holding it in.
Okay. I question it. Okay, so most people,
Can you get back closer to the phone? Your voice sounds like it's far away, and I want to hear you. I want this to be documented well. I can't hear you.
I said most people in the time that you grew up in, they kept a lot of things to themselves.
People are doing it right now. People don't.
But it was a time when growing up, you didn't talk about something. Everybody just took it as, oh well, big deal. Keep it moving.
Okay, well, yeah, that's the point I'm making now. So that's why, after becoming an adult, to share those moments and those times wasn't to put anything or anybody on blast. It's just these are experiences that I went through to help shape me to become who I am. So somebody might read it and they may say, well, I experienced the same thing. And no, I didn't go around telling everybody. So that's the reason I'm sharing my experiences. Some people do it in different ways. I put mine in a memoir. So I'm just sharing a collection of different things. And if I could have, I'd need 10 of these to tell every experience. I'm just telling the ones I could remember, and one that may have been a little more impactful, or even impactful can mean in a good way and not such a good way. So I'm just sharing it now. That's why I'm sharing it now, because maybe I didn't get to express myself. Maybe I don't think I was heard or understood even back then. So yeah, that's why I'm sharing it now.
And I just questioned it. That was all. I didn't say I questioned it bad. I just say I was questioning it because you know it was a time when I questioned when people said things, if whatever somebody said about you, I questioned you took a lot of those things, you took it more to heart than just some, and it hurt until to the point that it made it a challenge for you to continue to move forward with ease. Whereas it could have been so much easier if they would have just left you alone. Just leave me alone. That's what I say. Why don't you just leave me alone?
Okay, I have another question.
It's just like in any teaching I've ever had. It tells you, even with the teachings of the Bible, it tells you.
Hey, I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background. I mean, I don't. I want to try to. I have another question. Can you have any more to talk about your questioning, because I kind of want to move on to something different.
Oh, but no. I questioned, like I said, I questioned your childhood, so I had to stay with your childhood, how it shaped you, because I'm the reader, and I don't know about other people. I haven't asked other people. Only person that said, "Hey, I was reading. I haven't read his book." Or Marty has started talking, but then he got a phone call, so I have to call him back. And he called me, but then he started talking. I spoke to him yesterday
briefly. I asked him for a review also. This is, I guess, the therapy after the therapy. So thank y'all all for giving me your response. I appreciate it. But go ahead.
But so I'm the reader, and it's the reader without me knowing you. I said, wow, he was traumatized as a child. That led to torture throughout his life until he did. He's had to deal with this.
Okay, let me respond to that. Hold on, let me cut you off.
What I'm saying. And then I would say, if I didn't know you, I would say, I hope he got some help.
Okay, now let me respond to that. If that's what you got, I appreciate you giving me your feedback. But I was not traumatized. And yes, I did learn better. And if you want to call it help, so be it, help. But I don't think I was traumatized. I think I went through a pretty decent life. I had some impactful moments, but I don't think I was ever traumatized. And if that's what you took away from it, then okay. Did I have a few moments that were a little more impactful than others? Yeah. But I don't want to label myself as traumatized. As a reader, I respect your perception of what you read, but I want to answer to you. Yes, I got help. I'm getting help right now. Even talking to you is helping me to see and understand. But no, I don't feel like I was traumatized. But I appreciate your feedback. So I want to move on to another question. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's my next question. You were just talking about not knowing me. If you didn't know me, you would think or feel or have a different perspective. If you didn't, let's just say you didn't know me and you said I was traumatized. Is what I'm saying, what I'm discussing and sharing, talking about, is it even book worthy? Could I have just kept that to myself and just lived and died and never shared any of it? Would it have made a difference? Do you think what I shared would be impactful to anyone else who may or may not have had the same or similar experiences? Was it interesting enough to where, okay, I can see why he might have felt like he needed to share this, and maybe someone can get something out of some of these stories? What are your thoughts about whether or not it was worth documenting?
It was worth documenting for you, but it wasn't worth documenting on my behalf.
So you feel like it was a waste of time reading it?
No, never a waste of time. No, not any. I don't think it was. I think it was zero waste of time. No, zero. No, I don't think it was a waste of time. No, not whatsoever.
You're getting too far from the phone, and I'm not hearing you clearly. The space is eating up your voice.
No, it's not. No, it was not a waste of time.
Okay, well, what do you mean when you say it was worth documenting for me? Because I'm not talking about me, I'm asking about you. When you say it wasn't worth documenting for you, tell me why. What do you mean, rather?
Um, it was for you. That wasn't for me.
Okay, hold on a second. We're not talking about me. I already know it was worth it for me. That's why it took 5 years to document it. I'm asking you as a reader, whether you know me or not. You just said for you it wasn't worth documenting. I want to know what you mean. It wasn't worth documenting. You say it wasn't a waste of your time. It wasn't worth documenting for you. Let's talk about you, because that's who I'm asking about. What do you mean it wasn't worth it to you?
Um, Similar things, because that was you. That was for you, not me. That was for you, not me. And if it helped you to live life better and to help you, oh yeah, that helped you. And I'm happy to know you someone that reached out and said, I'm just share it. And I don't mind sharing it with the world. Maybe there is someone out there that need it. Sure, it can help somebody. Oh yeah, it can help somebody now. So I would never tell you, oh, that wasn't worth it to put out there. I said it just won't for me.
So it didn't help. It didn't inspire you, or it didn't cause you to be impressed or inspired or entertained. What was it for you? So when you say it wasn't for you, I want to make sure I understand based on what you said. It wasn't for you. What was it for you? You said it wasn't a waste of time. You got nothing out of it if it wasn't for you. I'm just trying to understand, and I'm confused, and I don't want to misunderstand what you're saying. When you say it wasn't worth it for you, what did you actually mean?
Because that was you. I can't. That was something that happened with that you were expressing what you was going through. That's what I went through.
I'm having a hard time understanding. Your voice is sounding pitchy, and you're far from the phone, it seems like. And if you could be patient with me, I'd appreciate it.
Because what you was right, it helped you, but it didn't help me. It only gave me insight of saying, wow. It was it really, I mean, it really impacted his life to the point that he decided to write about it. That's good for him. Some people, a lot of people, that's why they write books, to tell all. They just
Okay, I want to
let it
stay
go.
focused. I'm going to have to make my own conclusion because I'm asking you the same thing a few times. So, reading the book, you said it wasn't a waste of time. You said it was not worth it for you. And of course, we know it was for me. I'm not even giving it value. It was just something that I thought I would do, and I felt like doing it. And once I started it, I couldn't quit, and I wanted to finish, and I'm glad I did. I have zero regrets. But when you say it was worth it, it might have been worth it for me, but for you, it wasn't. I'll just leave it at that. I won't even talk about it anymore. So, what did you get out of the book? Okay, let me ask you a question. What did you, if there was anything you got out of it, was it worth your time in just reading it?
Yeah, it was worth my time. Sure, it was worth my time.
So you don't regret reading it?
I don't regret reading it.
Okay. But it didn't help you in any kind of way. It didn't inspire you in any kind of way.
Oh no, that didn't inspire me. No, it didn't inspire me. No, it questioned. I had questions. It only gave me. I'm just thinking. Wow. Somebody's willing to just sit up and they don't mind. Some people don't mind discussing their personal lives. So I can't say that inspired me.
Okay.
No, I can't say that because I'm not a person that's open like that. So no, that can't inspire me to say, well, maybe I need to be a little bit more open. So no, that didn't inspire me in that way. It's to inspire me to do what? To become more open, to face facts.
Not at all. No, I'm just saying, were any of the stories inspirational in general, not to necessarily inspire you to do anything? Did you find excitement? Did some of the stories make you happy? Did it make you sad? Did it make you angry? Did you feel any emotions as you were going through some of the experiences? How were you inspired? Or did you just feel nothing? You just felt nothing. You just now know and you question some things. I'm trying to make sure I fully understand. I wasn't trying to inspire you to be open or inspiring you to do anything. I kind of want to know what it did for you, if it did anything at all, and how did it leave you? Did you feel more happy, more sad, more angry, more what? What do you feel after you now have more details on what I experienced? How did it leave you? I was just hopeful and just thinking, wow, he's going through a lot. I hope this can be resolved, because who wants to? I hope that I hope what the things that you say you have had to deal with, and the things that got you to the point where you are, that they can somehow or another be resolved completely. When you say got me to the point, hold on. When you say got me to the point where I am, where do you think I am?
I don't know. And me reading it sounds like someone is looking for themselves to have peace within them. So to find peace so they can go on. Because a person can't go on if they don't find peace.
Okay, let me respond to that. I promise you I have peace, and not only have I gone on, I'm still going on. And I believe in my heart that I'm thriving and I'm doing well. I'm not perfect, and I like to say many times, I may not be happy, but I am at peace. So when you said I'm trying to understand, remember the words you used. When you say resolve this, what is it that you think I need to resolve? Because I don't think my life has been traumatic, or I don't think it has been so bad that I have problems now. And like I said, if that's what you took from the book, I appreciate your perspective. And maybe some brain therapist may be able to understand something or explain or share their perspective. But I don't feel like I'm struggling or suffering or need to resolve anything. I'm working through my life as I go, as I experience a day, day-to-day living. I'm learning how to deal with every experience, but I'm not unresolved, or I'm not looking for myself. I don't think I'm growing every day, but I would like to say I'm at peace. When I look back over my life with where I came from, what I've accomplished and what I've gone through, challenges, good, bad, and ugly, and there were definitely more good than bad, I am 100% at peace. I really am. And there's nothing to resolve. I'm glad I got to share some of these stories so people like you can say, okay, well, this is what he experienced. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't ugly. It wasn't traumatic. It was just, impactful. Some in a good way, some in not so good ways. So the last question, I just want clarity. How did it leave you? Not necessarily inspired to do anything, but how did it leave you? Happy, sad, mad, shocked, aggravated? I'm just throwing some words out there. After you read that now, how did you feel? Did you feel Good or bad?
I didn't feel good or I neither bad. It was a book that I read, and I said, okay, that's what he wants. Just like I do other books. It's because it didn't inspire me to do anything. It was enjoyable to read. Okay, I enjoyed reading it.
Okay, that's what. Hold on, right there. That's what I was looking for. You did enjoy reading it.
To an extent, yeah, to an extent. I enjoyed reading it to an extent, but it was hard to read because it was just really hard to read.
Why was it hard to read?
For one thing, you had the way you had it arranged.
What about the way I had it arranged?
First of all, I had to get into my head that this is not your regular book you're reading. That's the way you chose to write your book, your memoir, like you said, in the order it did. So it was all twisted up. So I had to take my time to read it.
When you say twisted up, what do you mean?
The story went out. Most bibliography, sometimes they start from, they give you a clue from the end and then take you through the beginning, take you backwards or forward. You were all over the place. So it took me time to get through it, to put the pieces together. I'm not putting a jigsaw puzzle together.
But you put it together.
No.
So what is it that you don't understand?
I didn't say I didn't understand it.
Well, when you say you didn't put it together, you said it was all twisted up, and you said it was all over the place, and you said you enjoyed it, and then you said to a certain extent, and then you said you had to get into it and put it together. Did you eventually understand what I was saying in each individual experience?
I still question some of the events. I question why would people. I know why people do things.
We're talking about me. If you're talking about me, or are you saying people in general?
I'm questioning. You let these things. I just question. I question. Do you feel like you've been helped by writing a book?
I didn't write a book to help me. So no, I don't think I'm being helped. I think I had some things inside of me that I wanted to share. If I now had to evaluate myself or psychoanalyze myself, I think that there were times in my childhood and even adulthood, and even now sometimes, I don't think I'm being heard, and I don't think I get the opportunity to thoroughly explain. So being able to write that book was me giving a foundation of who I am and why I am the way I am. So as I went back and as I was sharing some of those stories, maybe I didn't feel heard or listened to, or that I was able to express who I really was on the inside. I feel like I was misunderstood and feel like I may not be accepted in some ways. So no, I don't think it helped me or it hurt me in any kind of way. But for me to hear myself talking did get it out of me to the point where, okay, it's out, it's documented, and I don't have to feel anything, whether it's shame, whether it's embarrassment, whether it's happy or sad. Now that it's out and I've publicized it, I have nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about. Anybody that want to criticize it, take pot shots on it, not understand it, question it, do whatever they want to do, they have the freedom to do whatever they want, because I feel a little more transparent. So yeah, I'll go back and say maybe it did help in the sense that it's behind me, that there's not too many more things that I don't have to hide or not reveal or expose. So yeah, maybe I can say it did help me. I do feel better that it's behind me. Yeah, I do. And I hope that people will ask specific and direct questions. And we're out of time. I don't want to, keep going unless you have something to say. I I thought maybe you would have some questions about particular things. And if you do, we can do it another time because I want to kind of give this a breather right now. I appreciate you reading it and taking the time to even share what you did share with me. I can't say I fully understand what you mean or what you're saying in what or how you were left, after reading it, but I appreciate it. Maybe after I listen back myself, I will understand a little better as to what you are actually saying. But as I move on and I interview other people and get feedback and reviews, I will have a better understanding of what people see and how they feel and how it leaves them. But overall, I'm glad it's out of me. I'm glad it's published, and I don't feel bad about it. And I hope I don't eventually feel bad about it. I hope moving forward.
When writing your book, did you even care about how your family would feel about you telling some personal things?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. But you didn't care.
I didn't say I didn't care. Sure, I do. I thought about it, and yes, I do care. But overall, when I looked at my experience, I feel and I felt then that I had the right to share my personal experience. I don't think I embarrassed or exposed anybody. Somebody may not like how I'm telling my story, but I don't think I embarrassed anybody at all by telling my side of the story. So yes, I did think about it. Yes, it was one of the harder things that I had to get past in deciding that I would, get this out of me of how someone, it's just like even now, even when I go on stage and play my horn, I think about whether or not somebody's going to like it or not, or whether they're going to have a comment about what I'm wearing or how I danced or whether or not I missed a note. So when I think about how someone else may feel, I still have to realize that, okay, I've got booked to do this event and I've got to go and satisfy the client. The client in this case would be me and what I experienced. So yes, I did care and I do care. And I even said in my preface that, okay, if there's anybody that may not necessarily see, my reason for doing it, I don't mean anybody any harm by sharing my experiences. So yes, I do care if someone is uncomfortable, but I couldn't let it stop me from sharing my experiences because I do feel relieved and I feel like I do feel better, as you just asked me. So yes, I did care. I do care. And I made reference to how someone may take it, but I didn't mean anybody any harm, including myself, because guess what? It was very difficult for me to share some of those stories. They were uncomfortable for me, but that's how you grow sometimes through the pain of, allowing it to go. So if anybody wants to even write about me, if it helps them, I may not like what they say, or I might not like how they say it, but I respect anybody's, ability or will or desire to share their experiences.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like to me, when reading the book, it sounds like to me a lot was inflicted on you from other people.
Well, it may sound that way. Hold on, let me respond to that. Hold on, slow down. Maybe it was. I don't think a lot was inflicted on me. Maybe you're using the words that are not necessarily what I'm saying. Quite a few things impacted me. I don't want to say they were bad. When you use the word inflict, it sounds as if you're saying I was negatively impacted by a lot of people. I don't think so. Everything that happened to me caused me to grow and caused me to advance, especially after I got through it. So yes, when I went through certain types of experiences where I didn't feel good, or as you say, where I may have been inflicted, even as the Bible say, it was good that I was inflicted because it helped me to see myself and to live more and to find more of my purpose. So if it sounds that way, then I respect your perspective that, okay, that's how it sounds to you. But no one has done anything to me. I'm not upset with anybody. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not upset in any way about the experiences that I had, good ones, bad ones, or ugly ones. So I'm not trying to get back at anybody in any kind of way by sharing my experiences. So I don't feel like I was wronged or anything that impacted me in a way that caused me to grow, I'm happy for it.
Well, I guess you didn't need to write a book then if it didn't bother you. Because the people
you're right. I didn't.
People that inflicted on me, I would. You know what? If I wrote a book, they'd probably be in jail.
Okay, well, you have that right and that choice. And you say, I didn't need to write a book. I didn't need to write a book. I wanted to. I wanted to voluntarily share some of these things that were not always proud moments, that were not always happy moments.
What other people did, it impacted you to the point that it pressured you to the point that you had to get it out of you, because it was inflicted and it was getting rooted in you, and so you say, I got to get this out. So yes, it did leave a great impression on you that you had to say, I got to get rid of this thought, feeling, pattern.
I don't want to be embarrassed that certain things impacted me in good, bad, and not so good ways, that I want to be embarrassed that I had to, or I wanted to, and chose to share it. So I don't want to be ashamed that something may have rooted in, that had impacted me to the point that I wanted to share it. I definitely feel better that I did, and that's healthy. It's healthy to get things out of you. That's why some people go to therapy. People receive therapy in different ways. This was 5 years of therapy that I went through, sharing this, writing, editing, and thinking, and even doing what you said, being concerned about what someone may think, what they may say, how they may feel. So yeah, it was many things were impactful.
So you did have trauma. So you did have trauma in your life to the point that you had to go see a therapist.
Well, you are labeling it as trauma, and I will say, okay, maybe it was.
Why do people go to therapy if there's not trauma?
Well, people go to therapy because they sometimes don't understand, and I can't answer for other people. The reason I go to therapy even today is because I believe it's healthy, just like I go to the gym and just like I eat healthy food. Psychotherapy, mental health is a serious thing. So I'm not embarrassed because I go to a therapist. So yes, when things happen to me that I can't understand, all that I don't get, or understand, that God, when I pray about, I'll go to someone who is a specialist in mental health. So I'm not embarrassed that I did and will continue to see a therapist. I think it's good. I go to get a massage. I get massage therapy.
I think going to a therapist will help a lot of people. But what I'm saying, it's got to be so deep that you got to go talk to somebody privately.
Of course, whether it's deep or shallow. Some people go to therapy when it's nothing at all. Some people over exaggerate. So you're right. What I went through and what I experience on a daily basis is deep enough for me to pick up the phone. And I spoke to my guy the other day. I have a couple different therapists that I talk to. Some are just friends, and I sometimes conversations. Even this conversation now is somewhat therapy for me. Even some of my live streams are therapy. I say it all the time. But I called my buddy just a couple of weeks ago just to say, hey man, how you doing? And just to get some feedback. And he said, well, how's this and how's that? And sometimes people can give you good feedback. They can hear things that you can't hear. They can see things that you can't even look at. So I'm not embarrassed, and I won't be shamed into the fact that I respect and appreciate and understand the value of therapy. And yes, things have impacted me in a good way, to where it's like being fat. Like right now, I'm in the best shape of my life. I wake up at 5 a.m. I work out. I ran 5 miles just the other week. I'm doing like 15-mile rides on my bike. I just joined a new gym. I'm going to do like my son told me to do. I'm going to intensify, my resistance. So I'm in a good place. And it all started from maybe even being teased, or maybe not being as healthy as I wanted to be. When I look at people around me and their health, and they can barely get off the couch and half my age, it is motivational for me. So yes, I'm doing better in all of those things that impacted me.
Well, let me ask you this. When you see some of these same people that caused you to have your life reshaped, and you had to reshape your life. When you see those people, how did that make you really feel looking back? When you look at where you are now and you look at them, be honest.
I don't have an opinion. Anybody that has caused me any kind of growth is something I definitely don't hold grudges. When I look at people that impacted my life, I thank them. Even the Bible says, bless people that despitefully use you. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a Bible scholar, but I have no ill feelings towards anybody that impacted my life, whether it was good.
You got to have a thought, because somebody that maybe did you wrong or said something. I didn't say you had any ill feelings, but there's no way that you can look at a person and say, you did something really wrong to me. I probably ain't, you may have told who it was, maybe you haven't, but when you do see them, they got to face you. You may not.
The last thing I want, listen, I don't believe I have to get revenge. So if I see someone,
no, wait a minute, I'm not speaking of revenge. Revenge belong to God. No, I'm saying, you ever seen a person that called you fat? Like you said in the book, somebody called you fat and they were bigger than you were to this day. How did that make you feel?
Feel like, what they did caused me to be better. And I don't want to hold the grudge.
But when you saw them, what do you think? They twice your size now.
Absolutely. I just think that it causes me to be careful with what I say and how I look at people. I don't recall ever being someone who teased and picked at people as a child. Sure, I was.
I know, I understand that, but I know from I'm gonna take this to me right now. I know girls in school, they were all fit, trim, and all the guys like them. And when they see me now, they tell me, "You look like you lost weight." I'm thinking, no, honey, I ain't lost no weight. I'm bigger than I ever been. No, you don't pass me. That's all that is.
Okay, well.
They look a certain way, and I'm like, dang. I'm like, wow. I wish I didn't. I mean, if I could have saw this far ahead, man, I'd have been dynamite. I didn't know I was that much of an explosive. Well, but when you look, I'm not saying that I see them I see them prosper and feel happy.
Let me answer your question.
Get all like laughable.
Hold on.
But what I'm saying is, when I see them,
could you stop for a moment? Hold on. Let me answer your question. I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel bad when I see people that have wronged me or did something bad out of people who are fatter than me, who are skinny. Somebody just came to mind right now who used to, let me tell you, there was this guy in high school used to put his finger in my stomach and make the sound of an air going out of a ball. Psh, I remember.
I remember you telling that.
Hold on, let me tell it again. Hold on, I got an audience now. I will never call his name. But guess what? If you see him now, he is god awfully not necessarily in shape. He does not look happy or healthy. But I don't hold any grudge against him. When I look at it, it's like, I remember how I felt. But that is what caused me to, even now, when I hear that alarm at 5 a.m., thoughts like that say, get up and go. So I don't say, okay, well, they passed me, or I don't have anything bad. And I definitely don't want to get revenge. There's a lot of people that I could get back. I believe the best way to get revenge, or the best way, is to have a good life. I don't remember who said it, but say the best revenge is massive success. And that's what I try to do every day, be the best I can, so that I don't have to get revenge, so that my efforts will speak for themselves. So to answer your question, when I see people that have wronged me, I give them my hand to shake, and I give them a fist bump, and I say hello to them. I don't want to be. I
do too. I see people that, man, they laugh. And
I can't hear you. There's a lot of noise going on. It's distracting a little bit. If you can be patient, I'm gonna try to let you go right now. If you don't have any more questions, I can let you go. But
I was just asking you, how did you see things? But you're so modest about things. But no, when most of the time when a person sees somebody that stepped on their shoes, their brand new shoes, or or push them in the mud, and they see them later on in life, and they the CEO of a company. No, they don't feel. They don't say ha ha ha. They have compassion. Most of the time, you have compassion for that person because you know how it felt to be
that's
hurt.
my point. I'm telling
You become the most compassionate
Hold on for
person.
a second. Let me respond to Jesus. I gave an example of that even in the book when I talked about, one of my teachers that you mentioned just now. When I saw her, and when I still see people, I'm not mad. I feel bad that I let somebody like that cause me that kind of, distraction. But it's good that you're afflicted. The Bible even says that it was good that you were afflicted because it helps you to grow. So even now when bad things happen, I thank God now for, a healthy life and for things to continue to go good and at least manageable. But whenever you fall into diverse temptation, so to speak, you can count it all joy. I see those people. And again, to finally answer your question, when I see people that have not spoken good of me, even people that I work with, when I see them now, I just go, hey, what's up? You can see what I'm doing. I don't hide who I am or what I'm doing. I'm just like, okay. So I don't have any kind of ha ha ha's, or I don't feel naturally. It's like, okay, I'm glad that I didn't let it get me further down. So yeah, that's it. Okay, we've been on for a while. Let's see how much time. We've been over an hour. We're getting ready to go into an hour and a half. But I'm done unless you want to do it again. You have any thoughts, views, or comments left in closing?
Just that it's your book. I'm happy that you were able
Okay, hold on. I don't want to miss this part. Can you just stop whatever it is you're doing? The noise. Just help me out. Just last 2 minutes. Last thoughts, views, comments.
I'm happy that you were able to write the book, get the help, the therapy you needed, and to move forward. And without any animosity to the people that may have caused any distress in your life, knowing that you are overcomer. So that's the most important thing. How have I overcome? And that's how I look at my own personal life. So if I can see that another person is an overcomer after they tell me their story, then I can say, you know what? I mean, you got something to clap about because you are overcomer. Some people don't overcome.
Okay, now that you said that, hold on. Thanks for that. And that's where I'll close at. Sounds like what you got out of the book in closing is that you see me as an overcomer. And that's what I'll close with. Maybe you didn't say it in those exact words, but this is my perception of what I think you got out of it. That you see that with everything I went through, good, bad, and ugly, that I can profess and claim that I'm an overcomer, and I will close on that. Unless you have something else to say, I will let that be the end, and I'll let you go. So you can have the last word, but that's what I'm going to take from what I believe you got out of reading my manuscript, that I am an overcomer, and that's a good report. So I thank you for that. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah. Continue to overcome. I never saw you not overcome. So I never saw you that way as a defeated. So I'll leave it with that. I've never seen you as being defeated. Even since you was a little boy, I never saw that. So. Because I never was. I was not born defeated. I was born to win. No, I never saw that in you growing up. I didn't see anything negative about you growing up. I always saw positive things in you. I mean, I saw it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure other people saw it. They just didn't tell you. But I didn't see anything. I never thought that you was going to grow up and be defeated. I always saw something positive in you. That's good. Sometimes other people are the ones that set roadblocks. But no, I never saw you in a defeated state. Never. Not even since you was a little boy. No, you always had an overpowering attitude. So I never saw that. Good. Okay. With that being said, okay. I'll let you run. I'll catch up with you later, and I will send you the link to this podcast.
Okay.
Okay, I'll holler. Thanks again. Bye. Okay, well, there you have it. Another one just like the other one. That one was pretty tough to get through at times because I did hear quite a few conflicting things. Maybe it was just the way I was hearing it, but I'm glad in the end I did get what I was looking for in the beginning. She saw that I was an overcomer, and she said she never saw me as defeated, although I was traumatized and, scarred quite a bit. I kind of at least got, through and got what I guess what I was looking for. And that was an honest and as detailed as possible review of my most recent and current and only memoir, My Mother's Fifth Child Revealed Exposed. If you haven't gotten it, go and get it. It's on my website, travisbridges.com. It's at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I hope you get something out of my experiences. Again, I didn't write it to become anything other than a person who wanted to share what it is that maybe they have not been able to share for a long time. So with that being said, find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, show it, mean it, and let it be true. Even if they don't receive it or believe it. Ciao.